You are now about to witness the awesome, drunken might of, wait for it, Woo! Welcome, my friends, to a show that apparently never ends until I embarrass myself in some hugely humiliating way and get kicked off the air. This is round number 339. For those of you who haven't figured it out, the numbers on this show go backwards. I don't know if you've ever read Martin Amos's book, Time's Arrow, but you should. And when we get to 251, magic happens, boys and girls. But right now, we're here to talk about UFC Fight Night 78. Which unfortunately I didn't get to watch until about 10 minutes ago. Well, I started watching it early. It took me about 3 hours to watch it. I didn't start the night drunk, but I was driven to it. I'm taking a real good look at you. I'm taking a real good look at your face. Being paid back in full, always. So I'm going to turn the music off because, you know, we figured out we can't have the show with the music. At some point, we'll have production value enough. It's Popeye there. He refuses to work this late unless he gets double overtime, which includes pasta and meat treats, apparently. You know what? The bald one would be perfectly happy to have the UFC stacked to the brim, filled to the brim with fighters who worked for dog treats and pieces of meat every now and then, like it is in Thailand. Guy says, "Why do you fight?" We had a film director on, Robert Klein, who did the film about Thai box, Muay Thai got fighters. It's like, man, I like to eat. Oh, you mean so they pay you? He goes, No. I like meat. So you like to buy meat? No, they pay me in meat. Tough gig, buddy. You know, I like my job just as well as anybody else, but I think some guy gives me a ribeye. I think I need to start thinking about alternatives. Anyway, this is round number 339. I'm your host, Eugene S. Robinson. The S standing for Slammagasted. And I probably shouldn't have done the show, but it's not. You tell me something. It's my responsibility. It's my fault that the show was an interminable 3+ hours. And this is my fault somehow. Look, I didn't expect that. You know, we did the Care Don't Care preview. Where's the tote sheet? We did the Care Don't Care preview, and we had on this fight, there were 13 fights on this fight, out of which I cared for 5. You know what that's like? Yeah. You know what that's like? I don't even want to tell you what that's like. So at first you take, I have a martini, and then, you get a second bite, then a third bite, and next thing you know, it's the next day, and you got to do a show. So, okay, we got one viewer. I got to up my game, because 2 viewers, because it's not your fault. It's not your fault that I imbibed. Okay, So let me fresh hot off the presses. Yeah, if you watched the Care Don't Care preview earlier in the week, the Kid Nate and I had come to a conclusion that there were a lot of don't cares on this fight, and we can go down the list. You know, it may have been fight, and it's a catch as catch can event for me. You know, sometimes when, and I'm going to start from the bottom because in my mind it's like the Three Sailors Gambit, that story I told you by Lord Dunsany. You know, where the guys in his British men's club, and they're all sitting around comparing their attributes, and one guy says, "Well, I can run fast. You know, I am probably the foremost expert on pre-Cambrian pottery." And then this guy's sitting around thinking. He goes, "I have one." And he goes, "What's that? What's your attribute?" He goes, "Well, my attribute is clearly that for me, every woman is equally unattractive." Which of course means that for him, every woman is equally attractive. If every woman is equally attractive, you understand Paris doesn't exist. And I'm not talking about the city. I'm talking about the man who kicked off the Odyssey by running off with Helen of Troy, right? Because he could screw Helen just as easily as somebody else. Doesn't make a difference. So puff of smoke, a member that nobody had seen in the men's club is appeared. And he goes, "You know what? I'd like to buy that attribute from you." Either because I guess he didn't want him to continue to have it, or he realized the incredible worth of an attribute where we're not motivated by the idea of primacy, by this notion that this is better than this, and that humans are not fungible, which means changeable. So this Luciferian figure buys this attribute and gives him in exchange 3 jokes that will cause anybody to hear them to die laughing. Look, I don't want to go into the whole story because you could Donna Shalala me on the old show, and you probably heard it before. I've told it before. The point is his attribute, and the attribute being to him, all women are equally unattractive, or all women are equally attractive. Same proposition. So if it's a don't care card, I'm gonna have to say that for me, all fights are equally unattractive. Or all fights are equally attractive at that point. So I'm explaining to you why usually I start with the headliner and go on through, and that doesn't make a difference, you know, because I actually watched every single freaking fight, which I don't usually do. That's no surprise. If it's a don't care card and I've got to try to track down a sports bar to watch it or somebody's house to watch it, you know, if that's what's going on, you know, then, hey, man, I got shit to do. I was doing a lot of demolition today. I'm tired. You know, I was training already. I mean, what do you want? What do you want? Right? So, I have to say, this time I had the occasion to actually watch every single fight. And it reminds me of this writer guy. His name is Joe Queenan. And Joe Queenan decided at a certain point that he was going to do something special, that he was going to, you know, he and his Upper West Side friends are always constantly like, you know, snorting full of contempt over, Hollywood blockbusters. And he decided he was going to see nothing but Ford movies for 6 months. And he realized that after about a week that he was in big trouble, much like when Skull Game, the porn review site, before it became a product apparel site. And now, because of computer screw-ups, it is a completely nothing site. Or actually, not computer screw-ups, our sales house closed down, so it doesn't exist anymore. I mean, if you want to buy the Skull Game shirts from me, you're welcome to, as well as the fight book signed, you know, as well as the audio book, $10 double CD. But the Skull Game shirts are sort of non-existent at this point. But I'm going to have to say, I'm going to have to steer it back for a second. Now I'm doing a Greg Jackson. Let your breathing, let your breathing control things. Bring it down. And I'm excuse me. And I'm gonna have to say that I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what happens in the minds of people who. I remember what it was. When we started Skull Game, the guy said, "It's a porn review site. I'll pay you $4,000 a month to review porn. And I was like, great. He goes, bring your card to the factory. I'll give you your first month's delivery. And I was like, great. So I pull up to the factory, and the guy brings out a freaking forklift and fills my entire trunk of the car with pornography, right? Which was made for yucks aplenty when I was stopped by the cops. And I said, you know, my driver's, I had a cracked windshield. My driver's license is in the trunk, and I opened the trunk, and they're like, it was like the scene from Pulp Fiction with the gold. All right, so I thought that I could watch a month of porn myself and thereby keep all the cash myself. I was very wrong, and I knew after about 45 minutes that I was in big trouble. So I essentially Tom Sawyered all my friends. Hey man, you want a bunch of porn? And everybody was like, yay, you just got free porn. I said, all you gotta do is, you know, type a few words for me. Just tell me how the video was after. How are you gonna do that? You only watch these things 3 minutes at a time. This was different. I watched every single fight. That was my point, to tie it in. And you know what? If I had to do this all the time, if I had to violate the spirit of care, don't care, you know, I might kill myself. I might accelerate the time schedule on the flambe, but I can't do this. You know, Michel Richard Cunha de Praceres against Valmir Lazaro. Man, this was all 3 rounds, and it went to a decision, and it went to a decision I did not even agree with. It was robbery, straight up. Straight up. Yeah, I got it. This is not for you. We're trying to build a Mexico City. Latino fans are great. Hey. Latino fans are fans of the fight game. What do you think? Somebody's mollified because you hand it to Praceres? That was a criminal act. It was a criminal act. Next up, Pola Reyes and Cesar Azamendia. It was a nice punch. But you know what? At this point, I got to deal with Mario Yamasaki with the freaking hand gestures. You know, come on, my spirit. I'm still crawling through the gutter now. Okay, Herrera and Vernon Ramos. Yeah, first round KO punches. You know what? I do not care. I'm looking at the tote sheet. I'm going, Jesus Christ, let me have a drink. And then up is Andre Fili and Gabriel Benitez. And, you know, I had picked Fili to win. Andre Touchy Fili, great fight nickname. Picked him to win. He won. But I don't care. Now I'm actively hostile. We're 4 fights in, and I'm sitting in this chair, and I'm actively hostile. All right? I'm just telling you, I'm not breaking down stuff that you couldn't break down yourself. It's not like last week with the Ronda thing. This is something we're just tiptoeing through the tulips of misery. Alejandro Perez and Scott Jorgensen, you could tell right away that Jorgensen was picked to be punked, and punked he was, and it was unpleasant to watch. You know, the guy, did we find out today that his leg is broken? What do we got to watch this guy? Yeah, oh, he's got lots of heart. If you happen to be in the cage and near a booth and you hear them talking about you having lots of heart, if you're a professional fighter and you're listening to this, you have to know that what that means is, to quote Coach Dream Crusher Leopoldo Serral, you fuck up. Which is great the way he says it, because it could mean you are fucked up, you're going to fuck up, you have fucked up. I mean, he does it like Japanese. I love Japanese. You could say oshiko, which is the English equivalent of tinkle. It's something a man would never say it to describe micturation or piss. But, you know, you just say oshiko. Well, I mean, I would never say that. But if you're a woman, you would say oshiko. And I, as a listener, am supposed to figure out if you're saying that you need to piss, that you have pissed, that you're going to piss, or that you saw some piss, right? I mean, it's great. If I come walking out of the bathroom and I say to you, piss, you can kind of figure it out. You save yourself a lot of time. You know, if I'm grabbing my crotch and I say to you, piss, you just point me to the bathroom. It might be right. or we might be at a special kind of party. I don't know. So Scott Jorgensen loses. I didn't pick him. I didn't care, you know. And then we go to Bartosz Fabinski and Hector Urbina. And you know, I thought about the immortal words of Nick Diaz. Hey, homie, you lay in your problems for 15 minutes. We think Bartosz didn't give a fuck. He was being booed. He's not going back to Poland empty-handed. Fuck you. Him and Francis Carmont fighting together would absolutely murderize Kid Nate. But I didn't pick the fight. I did not pick the fight. And actually, I look at my list. If you can see my scribble, I did pick Alejandro Perez to win, not knowing anything about Alejandro Perez, but simply because I know it's like Treat Williams. If Treat Williams is in a movie, you know the movie is no good because Treat Williams is never in a good movie. So if Scott Jorgensen is fighting, you got to know that he's fighting a Mexican guy in Mexico City. Why would they pick Scott Jorgensen? There's a reason why. So far, I'm up 2. And you think under normal circumstances, I'd be happy. But no, Bartosz Fabinski beat every stitch of happiness out of me. Eric Perez and Taylor Lapillus. Didn't pick him, didn't care. Oh, he won by another baton death march. So this is a big stinking pile of shit, you know, because really, realistically speaking, I really actually have better things to do. Leandro Silva and Efrain Escudera on my list. Decision. Escudera thought he had been robbed. I didn't care because I picked Silva. Why? Because hard luck guys are hard luck guys, and they never stop being hard luck guys. It reminds me of Humphrey Bogart. Wish me luck, Shamus. I got a raw deal. Your kind always does, sweetheart. Efrain Escudero, wish me luck, Eugene. I got a raw deal. Your kind always does, Efrain Escudero. Sorry, don't give a shit. So now, under normal circumstances, I'd be pretty happy. I'm 3 up, and of course, you know who's up? Well, Enrique Barzola and Horacio Gutierrez, and they fight for 3 long rounds. And who is their ref? Mr. I Heart One Love. One Love. That's upside down heart. I guess I need to go like this. You know, and then it becomes a Eric Montana and Enrique Marin, another 3-fight march of death. I don't care. I fuck up. Before I can get to Henry Cejudo and Yusia da Silva, and naturally, it's like Yusia da Silva is the Brazilian. Oh, I don't give. Oh, he's done this and he's done that, and he's got a fantastic record of 18 wins and only 4 losses, and he beat Zach Makovsky and he beat Scott Jorgensen. You notice, but he lost to Joseph Benavidez, but he beat Chris Carriosa. Oh, but he lost to John Dodson. This is not about shit. It's not about shit. There's a red carpet, and that red carpet was called Jussier de Silva because Henry Cejudo, they got plans for him. And it was a credible win, but it was a 3-round credible win with Mario Yamasaki. Maybe I just hate him because I can't do the handy dandy. Like there used to be a TV show when I was a kid called Zoom, which was like the Sesame Street for preteens. And they would do this thing with the hand. I could never do it. It actually made me want to beat them up. Beat them up on the show. So Cejudo wins, and I'm 1, 2, 3, 4 wins up. And then Ricardo Lamas with his stunning, sterling impression of Conor McGregor against Diego Sanchez, and kicked pretty much Diego in the same leg that Scott Jorgensen did. They shoot horses, don't they? Apparently they don't, because I had to see Diego Sanchez. Yes, and I like the bravado, and I like the cojones, and I like the, come on, hit me, man, come on. I'll bite you to death, the Monty Python thing. But Diego Sanchez lost. putting a shit in my shit bowl, which I guess it doesn't make, if you have a punch bowl full of shit and somebody takes a shit in the punch bowl, it's just more shit in the punch bowl. So Ricardo Lamas wins. I don't want to take anything away from Ricardo Lamas. He fought a great fight in actual fact, but I got news for you. You know what? You know what? You ever watch somebody, like a friend of yours who's got aspirations to do something? Fill in the blank. I've known plenty of guys, man, I'm gonna be an MMA fighter. Yeah, man. I know plenty of guys. Yeah, man, we're gonna be open up for Van Halen, man. We're gonna men with dreams. And it's good to have a dream. I've got them, you know, but something about my 5-6 years with Dream Crusher has taught me that dreams are meant to be crushed. Now, I know some of you might be huge Ricardo Lamas fans, and I like Ricardo Lamas, but you know what I see when I see Ricardo Lamas? I don't even start with me. Don't even start with me on this Ricardo Lamas thing. No, Eugene, you don't know shit. He's only 33 and he's 16-4. Don't give me that crap. Oh, he's beat Dennis Bermudez and he beat Eric Koch and Cub Swanson, and he's beat real credible guys. He's beat you know what? Let me tell you something. Let me sit you down and tell you something. If you're Ricardo Lamas, if you know Ricardo Lamas, if you like Ricardo Lamas, I got no personal animus against Ricardo Lamas, but Ricardo Lamas is going nowhere. Now, if you're Ricardo Lamas right now, you should be calling your mother and saying, Ma, buy that Cadillac. Because not only has Eugene Robinson in the past said that the Beastie Boys were going nowhere, and that Rick Rubin was going nowhere, and that the Butthole Surfers were going nowhere, and that the suicidal tendencies were going nowhere, I realized in a stunning moment, like you sit up in the middle of the night, that I said that Barack Obama was going nowhere. I was on tour in Chicago, and I drive by this billboard, Barack Obama for Senate. I was like, what the fuck, this fucking name? Gaba Booba Bang Bang? What the fuck is his name? Hey, man, yeah, hey, I appreciate the motherland just as much as anybody else. But, you know, what are you doing? What are you doing? You're never going to make it with that name. Sorry. I hadn't seen him. I hadn't heard a word out of his mouth. I just saw the name on the billboard. So if I'm telling Ricardo Lamas he's going nowhere, it's probably a 100% guarantee that Ricardo Lamas was gonna 2016 is his year, and you should bet everything you own on Ricardo Lamas. But right now, I'm not feeling it. His personal Q rating for me is in the toilet. I like to make it fun of Conor McGregor, but it's, you know, there was a guy who used to come out on stage with a big hammer and crush watermelons too. Nobody remembers his name. And for the record, his name is Gallagher. And that was like the centerpiece of his comedy routine. And he used to tell jokes and then do it at the end. And then he used to tell jokes and do it in the middle. And then he used to not even tell jokes anymore. It was just the watermelon crushing guy, with the big hammer. Yeah, see? You see this hand? Yeah. The thing, I have an overuse injury. I got it caught in some guy's shirt. I don't know if you can see how malformed his hand is. Yeah, I really feel for these guys. Actually, none of these guys is feeling good today. The fighters I'm speaking about. So now Diego Sanchez has shit in my shit bowl, and we go to Neil Magny and Kelvin Gastelum, and this is a great fight. This is a great fight. I had picked Gastelum. But I have never been so happy to have one of my picks go down as I was to actually see Gastelum go down. You know, I like a guy who was 11-1 and was trying to create a narrative that said this was an aberration. It was a tough weight cut. I got fuck up as a result of it, but I'm still that guy who was 11-0, who was 10, whatever, 11-0. In my mind, losses make you a man. You know what I'm telling you? You know, my friends who hit big at 18 or 19, they're like half people. And I'm speaking very specifically of like guys I know from the music scene who hit it when they were, you know, were noteworthy, noted, and people paid attention to them from the time they were 18, 19. They're really pretty much half people. There's just something about the rock, the sword against stone edification that comes from working crap job after crap job and having life have its way with you. Like, to paraphrase Chris Rock, I'm pretty much not trusting anybody who hasn't had their head beaten in. Because I know he's due to have his head beaten in. And I just assume not be there when he does. Well, maybe I do. Especially if it's behind the bushes at the 7-Eleven. So Gastelum was, and the look on his face was perfect. The look on his face is perfect. Like somebody put up this thing, you know, put this thing about this homeless woman, and this guy saw it. This woman was homeless. He went to Home Depot or some home supply place, bought a bunch, and right there on the curb, he built it his house. And they'd use a time-elapse photograph, and they put it up on like Upworthy, or somebody put it up on Facebook news feeds. And people were tweeting and retweeting and sharing this thing. And he gave her a new house, a small house, maybe 4 feet wide by 8 feet long, but just there at the curb. And people were like, oh man, that's touching and it's great. And I said, man, that's, you know what? I just really wish that I could be, I don't know, the first cop on the scene to give them both citations for illegal structures. People are like, what? I said, I wish I could be the first cop on the scene to give them tickets for having built an illegal structure. Roust them out, tear it down, and take them off to jail. Because according to Stalin, how much does Russia weigh? How much does the U.S. weigh? Or more specifically to my point, how much does fate weigh? You know what we were seeing when we saw Kelvin Gastelum receive the news that he lost a split decision to Neil Magny? We saw a guy having figured out exactly how much fate weighed. You know, I don't really know the figure, but I know it weighed more than Kelvin Gastelum. And I laughed and laughed, and then I went and I got the lights, because you could tell maybe the lights are better. Every know the lights are like too good now. It's like, well, that's what it used to be. But now the lights are like, I'm in a police interrogation thing. That's okay. But I started doing the show, and it actually put me in a much better mood, in the same way that watching an old lady fall down a flight of stairs might also put me in a good mood. You're like, Eugene, man, you're a fucked up guy. I'm like, you know what? It's not so much that I like old ladies falling downstairs. It's just that my sense of humor was completely framed by the Three Stooges. So going into it, I think pratfall. Yeah, no. I had a next door neighbor who tripped off the curb and he died. You know, I look out the window and Joe's sitting on the curb. And I walk through the living room again about 20 minutes later, and Joe's sitting on the curb. The fuck? I go outside. I go, hey, Joe, what's going on? And Joe looks up. He says, hey, Eugene, how are you? I go, you know, as good as can be expected for a POW. He looks at me. What? I go, nothing. I go, what, you just enjoying the day, Joe? Or he goes, well, I tell you, Eugene, I stepped off the curb and I kind of tripped. I said, is it your desire to stay on the curb, Joe? Or would you like me to help you up? And he goes, well, if you could give me your hand, that would be great. And so I give him my hand. He stands up. He brushes himself. He's like, thanks. And he hobbles off. And I don't ever see Joe again. Apparently, Joe, stepping off the same curb, ended up having the same thing happen to him. Because the first time it happened, he broke his hip. The second time it happened, he broke his hip even more. They diagnosed. He went into the hospital. He never came out. Let me tell you something. If you're old right now, if you go into the hospital without any family members in attendance, they will fucking kill you. And the word that you need to hear to remember to your dying day is if you hear them say, we're going to optimize the patient. I had a buddy who worked at Walter Reed in the military hospital. You hear them say they're going to optimize the patient, that means they need your bed. And if you don't think this happens in hospitals all over America, you should stop listening to this show shows ago. Stay out of the hospital if you know what's good for you. So anyway, I'm feeling pretty good about Gastelum. And then a shadow crosses over as John Anik says, and on the cover of the new EA Sports game, we got Ronda Rousey. And I was like, oh shit. It was really strange. It was like he had said, next up on Court TV, Adolf Eichmann, famed escaped Nazi. Well, you just have this sudden, flood of emotions, like the Ronda thing, and it's all over the place. And then all of a sudden, you gotta stop thinking about this fight, which is torture to think about, and you gotta think about the whole Ronda thing again, and everybody on it. You have no idea what it's like. Now you'll know whether she's to the manor born or whether this was some sort of false bravado, because the shit that's happening now with Ronda is heavy. And you sow the wind, you will reap the whirlwind. Lady Gaga. There are not a lot of people. Look, you got to get a good old punk rocker to love that kind of hatred. If I woke up that morning and Lady Gaga was tweeting about me, man, I would. You'd see me over my bowl of Life cereal go, oh, yeah. That's right. I don't like you, and I'm happy to see you. Lady Gaga wants to give Eugene S. Robinson shit. And it's like the blues song says, don't start me talking. I'll tell you everything I know. I've got a retail list as long as my arm. And my retail list is not like the normal person's retail list. Like, I'm going to get that next door neighbor for his dog pooped on my lawn. I got that stuff in my back pocket. I got stuff in the quiver. Like I got into an argument with my kid. I said, look, I will tell you truths about yourself that will change your life for the worse. Oh my God, what do I want to hear? No, but you got to understand, I'm not a bad father, but this was in response to her having texted to me, I despise you. And then when I confronted her at a family meeting later, it said, well, we started off being told that this one despised me. She goes, I didn't say that. I said the things that you're doing might make me despise you. And I go, let's go to the record. To the record, I despise you, Dad. She goes, well, I didn't mean, hey, kid, I don't mind, because you're like about 18 people deep in a line of people who despise me. And I recounted this story to my mother, and she said something, and she names her husband, and she said, my husband and I, we have friends, and people act like they like us, but they don't really like us. So this is where the tree that I come from. So when I say, if who would stand against me if God stands with me? It's not even like that. It's like who I know how much fate weighs. But Lady Gaga is gonna change that. She's gonna shed some light on the wretchedness of the hole in which I exist. Get out of here. I love it. The more you ignore me, the closer I get. But Ronda is not Eugene. So Lady Gaga's piling on Miesha Tate, fuck you, bitch, is the first tweet that she sent out. People are replaying the Jimmy Fallon clip or Jimmy Kimmel or whatever show she was on. yeah, this is what she's going to try to do. It'll never happen. The View is inviting Holly home. Holly Holm is like now the toast of the town. You're hassled by TMZ as you try to stumble through the airport. I got a question and I got a quiz. If Travis Brown loses this fight, against Matt Mitrione, does Honda take the occasion to dump Travis Brown? Because I would. You know, you figure whatever. It's providing cover. In basketball, it's called running a pick. He's already depressed because he lost to Matt Mitrione. Now's the time. Strike while the iron is hot. Fly. That's something. Let's take a nice, comfortable, friendly knuckle-up bet. If Travis Brown loses to Matt Mitrione, how many hours will it take to get that? Yeah, you know, we should really talk. Yeah, you know, I tried to do the chimp chill out. You know, when you go to the zoo and you're like, hey, monkey, fuck you, monkey, and the monkey just. I just do the chimp chill out on this woman. I just not gonna. I can't deal. Whatever. She's trying to harass me. I just gonna stop calling. And she keeps calling, right? She keeps not calling like she expects to talk to me, like calling like she wants to talk about the fact that I'm not calling. Like, God damn it, this is not working. So I got to deal with it. So, you know, I finally, okay, all right. So I call, and she says, so anyway, I was thinking that this is not really working. I was like, yeah, I agree. And she's like, so you agree? I said, I just said I agreed. She goes, well, you agreed kind of fast. I go, did I? And she goes, okay, so, all right, well, you know, good luck to you. I was like, good luck to you. And she said, you know, and if you're ever, and then I make some offhand like quip, you know. Okay, it wasn't really a quip. It was completely filthy, whatever I said, but it was in the spirit of let's be friends, and this is what friends do to each other if things get, and she, that's never gonna happen. And I was like, hey, easy. I'm just trying to be nice. You know, you're just a phone number to me at this point. And I'm not by nature a nasty guy, but you know, this woman had a record. She was like 12-0. 12-0? What? Hey, what? She's 12-0, and that she felt as a point of pride that she had never been dumped. And she would tell people this. I've never been dumped. Never been dumped. This is a point of pride. Well, you've never been dumped. You ain't been married either. So something happened. So she had to keep her record intact. But even though I'd been ducking her calls for 4 months, had to call me up to get me on the phone just so she could get that last of the check. I don't know. My point is that, you know, some people act like they're okay with adversity, but they're really not. I haven't seen a press conference. She did exactly what she said she was going to do. But you got to understand that brand Ronda hasn't been irrevocably damaged. But if she but blench, you know, fate will know its course. Just keep your mouth shut, get at, you know, and just do what you got to do. You know, the best revenge is revenge. But outside of revenge, the best revenge is the next time we hear from you is because Roadhouse is open. Now, Roadhouse is probably already filmed. This is the way Hollywood works. It films, and then the movie comes out. It goes edit, scoring, all this other shit that has to happen. During which time you leave Honda, you leave your team, go to another team, and you start working on. It'll be easier for you to learn how to do a decent double leg than nurse's illusion that you're going to be. Nobody should have sent you, run you out there like that. Nobody. Nobody. They're trying to get you hurt. Like the guy who wanted me to fight the jungle fight, Waleed Ishmael's fight down in the Amazon rainforest against Francisco Chico Bueno, a story I've told many a time. They just want to see an American get hurt. And so, like my mother said, Honda, you should take this to heart. Like my mother said, you have friends, but they don't like you. Not really. In fact, I feel very, very clear that Eugene S. Robinson, the last truly free MMA voice in America, can look you in the face and tell you, I understand. You know, and I understand how America hates a winner, and I understand how if you win long enough and have been glossed a winner, that people will pray and pray for your downfall, to quote B.I.G. Because somehow it jibes with that ass that's magnetically attracted to the couch. Yeah, someday I'm going to write that book. Wrote it. Yeah, someday I'm going to fuck that chick. Yeah, fuck it. Someday I'm going to, these someday people, what? You did something courageous and fantastic, and you came up short. And people are clutching for reasons why they're shitting on you. Oh, because you didn't touch your gloves, because you didn't do this, because you didn't do that, because you didn't. You know what? You made all these people rich. What is this thing that somebody just sent me about Conor McGregor and how I know that McGregor is going to lose? You don't think he's going to lose? Let me read this thing that somebody just sent me. He said, it went out 36,609 times that somebody sent it to me. And it says, it's from his Instagram account, and I'm pretty sure he and I are not Instagram friends, but it says, leaving Ireland today for the West Coast. Conor McGregor, our team Conor McGregor sent this. To unify my belt and spearhead the unprecedented $90 to $100 million UFC 194 event. This event, along with UFC 189, putting me at close to $200 million in revenue generated for this company, all in less than 6 months. I am not a company man. I am the company, which is a ripoff of Jay-Z. I'm not a businessman. I'm a business man. That's the kind of shit. I'm not Instagram friends with Conor McGregor, but I'm pretty sure the bald one is. And you read stuff like that, you toss and turn. You need a few drinks to get to sleep. But he's right. It's a simple mathematical calculation. And somebody said, Ricardo Lamas did say something I liked. He goes, I wanted this to be a completely emotion-free fight. And that shit is chilling. I love that. Emotional content, not anger. Don't need it. So Honda, go do your thing. If you were my daughter, I would say, you need a new boyfriend. In fact, I do say that to my daughter. So, and you need a new team. And you need, Jackson would be a great place to be, but that's now not going to happen. I would suggest San Jose with Javier Mendez, a.k.a. Some other people have suggested other places. I'm just based on where you are, what you're doing, what you're like, proximity to Los Angeles, Nick Diaz, to California. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. And I'm hoping to a certain degree you can get yourself around to enjoying the hatred. It's delicious. I'm enjoying it by proxy. I'm enjoying it so much because I hope it's caused people to have a sudden burst of unjustifiable confidence. Like a Misha Tate who thinks, I got it now. I got the key now. Nah, you probably don't. You break a few arms going forward and people will forget. But you know who won't forget? Ronda won't forget. The big question with Ronda to me is, does she have that Chael Sonnen gene of, I don't know how I'm going to fail, but I'm going to fail. And I say that, why? Well, let's look at the historical signpost. Bronze medalist. Shit, I don't have any medals. Well, I do. I got the gold and the silver, but you know what I mean. Olympic medals. It's a tough competition, I'm sure. But there's a big difference between a gold medalist, like I say, Hudo, and somebody who finishes outside the money in here. Now that we've gotten off of hating John Jones because he's a winner, and now that we can finally put to bed all that Rashad Evans generated, oh, he's fake shit. We can see what he's done with the hatred. Have you seen the pictures? And if you think though, at first I said, my God, the guy's 240. They say he's not 240. They say those pictures of him at 220. He used to walk around at 220 before anyway, but it was flab, I guess. He loses 15 pounds. Oy, bourgeois, moi. DC, who is not getting any younger, he's got, I don't know what to say. I don't know what this is, Javier Mendez is using big think tank-like bouts of brain power to come up with a strategy. And God, I cannot even imagine how they're going to approach it. I cannot. It's knowable, but not known by me. Not known by me. Anyway, look, I've rambled enough. This show doesn't justify not a minute, talking a minute more. Thank you, viewers, you 21 viewers, for listening. I am going to go have another drink. We'll be back this week with the Care Don't Care preview. I implore you to have a happy Thanksgiving. And I'll tell you something that should help you. If you hear a sound that sounds like firecrackers, it's probably not. Probably not. Eagles of death metal, people ran and hid in the dressing room. They were all murdered. I would have suspected that you had to hit the exit door, there would be people waiting outside the exit door. Your people who survived hid. Hiding in a room is not hiding. I'm not doing a Ben Carson saying, well, what you need to do was a flying kick. And then with your flying kick, you disarm the attackers. You disarm the attackers, and then you survive. And you could float above the crowd so they couldn't get a clear shot of you. That's what Ben Carson would say. I'm just suggesting during the holidays that you be careful. And if you hear sounds that sound like firecrackers, it's not, because nobody celebrates Thanksgiving with firecrackers. So thanks. This is round 339. I'm your host, Eugene Slammergasty Robinson. We'll see you next week. Look what you made me do!